Okay, let's unpack one of the most chilling concepts embedded in this analysis. It's called surveillance pricing. Imagine an algorithm reading your most vulnerable queries. Maybe, I can't afford my mortgage this month. What are my options?
Mhm.
It doesn't just see the words, it gauges your distress level. And based on how desperate it calculates you are, it dynamically adjusts the price of a solution right there on the screen. It knows your psychological profile. That essentially is the core of the code redshift we're diving into today.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are exploring this revolutionary, pretty unsettling, and incredibly profitable pivot that's happening in digital advertising. It's a massive tectonic shift, and it's triggered entirely by the financial realities facing the biggest players, specifically OpenAI.
Right. So our mission is to take you through the source material, which really frames this as a race for survival. We're going to unpack why traditional ad tracking is effectively dying and how these new forms of artificial intelligence are turning your most private, confessional thoughts into the highest intent ad opportunities the world has ever seen.
We'll define Sam Altman's Code Red, which, by the way, is about survival, not innovation. And we're going to reveal this crucial 18-month window you have to exploit this massive temporary market gap.
Our journey starts with that financial panic. Then we'll trace the history of tracking, from simple cookies to, well, knowing your actual personality type. And finally, we'll spend a good amount of time on the silver lining. 3 specific, immediate opportunities for those willing to move fast. So let's start with the critical context. This whole shift, this code red, it's all being driven by a stark financial emergency. It isn't about achieving some new technical benchmark. It's about making money and making it immediately. Despite the incredible growth of ChatGPT, OpenAI is simply not profitable.
That's the detail the public so often misses. You see these explosive adoption rates, but you don't see the cost structure. The source material highlights that even the $20 a month subscription and even the $200 a month premium tier are just bleeding cash. Yeah. Training and inference, the actual running of the models is just astronomically expensive. It's an existential crisis framed as a business model problem.
But I have to push back on that a little. Why can't they just ride the wave of product quality? If the AI is truly superior, won't the monetization just figure itself out later, like it did with a lot of the early social platforms?
They don't have the time. That's the problem. They're facing a perfectly integrated rival, Google. Google has already weaponized Gemini across search, YouTube, Gmail, Android. They have 4 billion daily users already baked in, ready to be monetized.
That's the key distinction, isn't it? Google solved the monetization riddle 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have 2 decades of ad infrastructure, the bidding platforms, the conversion tracking, all of it. That's a huge moat. Plus, they have the deepest behavioral data, decades of your search history, location tracking, watch patterns. OpenAI is trying to build that whole system from scratch while facing these massive compute costs. It's a distribution monopoly fighting a startup.
So to paraphrase the core idea of this segment, OpenAI's big ad pivot is really just a desperate survival tactic. It's driven by their unsustainable costs and Google's massive head start on monetization.
Essentially, yes. The code red just means the clock is ticking on their cash reserves.
Yeah.
And to really understand how quickly this is forcing them to adopt these, intrusive ad models, we have to look at the history of digital surveillance. We have to remember where we started.
Right. Let's think back to Web 1.0, the billboard era. That was just dumb tracking, simple geographical targeting. You were seeing AT&T's crude banner ads back in 1994. It was one size fits all, based on almost nothing.
Then we hit Web 2.0, the cookie stalker era. This is what birthed retargeting. This was tracking your digital exhaust, your clicks, your browsing trails. You'd look at a pair of running shoes on one site.
And suddenly those exact shoes are following you everywhere you go online.
Yep, for weeks. That was the early days of privacy erosion. But the real shift, the big one, happened with Web 3.0, the super cookie memory era. This is where AI started stitching those little fragments together, using things like browser fingerprinting and IP triangulation to create a persistent profile of you, even if you deleted your cookies.
That's so crucial because it allowed these systems, like the ones used by Cambridge Analytica, to prove that with about 300 likes or data points, an AI could model your personality better than your own spouse.
And why? Because we disclose vulnerabilities online that we would never say in person.
And this gets to the concept of confessional queries. You aren't searching for cheap therapy. You're typing something into a chatbot like, how many drinks is problem drinking? Or how much does a quiet divorce cost? You're revealing core vulnerabilities and thought patterns.
So the AI tracks how you think and what you fear, not just where you click. And this lets it create what the source calls a mathematical reflection of your psychology. That's the jargon, in simple terms.
And so now we hit Web 4.0. The algorithm is you. Traditional ads are reactive. You search for a term, you get an ad. But the AI approach is predictive. It's personalized based on your entire conversational history.
Exactly. If you spend 2 days discussing career frustration with a chatbot, and you casually mention debt, the AI knows you're in both vocational and financial distress. It doesn't need you to search for a new job. It already knows your financial situation, your emotional state, and your current psychological susceptibility. So if AI remembers every single one of those vulnerable conversations, how fundamentally does that change the privacy assumption that users have when they're interacting with these systems?
Well, users are unknowingly signing over their personalized psychological data, which has instantly become the primary and highest value fuel for ad targeting. So let's shift now to the practical consequences of this, because the source material insists this isn't some future speak. This is being built right now. We need to talk about adaptive algorithms.
We know, for example, that Google's Gemini is powering core algorithms across its entire ecosystem, like YouTube. And this is a really crucial distinction from the older systems. Algorithms used to be rules-based. If X, then Y. Now they're AI-driven and adaptive.
What does adaptive mean in practice?
It means they exploit your learned psychological susceptibilities in real time. If the algorithm detects through your history that you respond really strongly to content about, say, feelings of inadequacy or loneliness, it will feed you more of that content to keep you engaged in that emotional state.
Because that content generates clicks.
Right, and that feeds directly into the truly sinister application, surveillance pricing. This moves way beyond simple dynamic pricing like, charging more during peak demand. This is pricing based on your perceived ability to pay, tied specifically to your emotional distress.
It's like the example they gave of the art school admissions officer who subtly asked a student about the equity in their house just to figure out how to maximize the tuition price.
Exactly. The AI just automates that assessment at a massive scale.
So if the algorithm sees I typed, "I can't afford my mortgage this month," it knows I'm under acute urgent duress. So if a debt consolidation offer pops up, it could be $500 more expensive for me than for someone else who asked the same question, but without that emotional indicator.
Precisely. It maximizes profit by exploiting your immediate distress.
But wait, isn't all marketing designed to exploit emotion on some level? I mean, how is this fundamentally different from a car dealer using scarcity tactics?
That's a great question. And the difference is speed and precision. Older marketing exploited general, recognizable emotions. Surveillance pricing exploits acute, moment-to-moment, private, and confessed vulnerability.
It's charging vulnerable people more for necessities.
We're charging them more for the exact solution they desperately need because the AI knows they'll pay it.
And this capability scales directly into political manipulation. I mean, think about how basic Cambridge Analytica was back in 2016. Now imagine that precision amplified by 1,000 times, with an AI that knows your precise fears and biases, crafting highly personalized propaganda just for you.
Whoa. Imagine scaling that level of adaptive influence to 1 billion daily queries. The ability to shift public opinion using individually tailored emotional pressure points is, well, it's terrifying.
So the immediate ethical problem with surveillance pricing, then, is that it charges vulnerable people, those already in distress, more for necessary services.
It trades on desperation. That's the bottom line. Okay, so while the privacy implications are undeniably serious, it's critical to remember that massive, violent shifts in any ad platform always create these temporary arbitrage windows. For those who want to build a business or just gain an edge, the focus has to be on this 18-month window before 2026.
And that 18-month window is a race, because the big players, the Walmarts, the big finance corporations, they move slowly, they have compliance hurdles, old infrastructure, so if they can't move fast, small, agile players can clean up.
And that leads directly to opportunity A, the penny click arbitrage. When a platform first launches its ad products, the traffic is cheap and the competition is low. Why? Because the advertisers just don't understand the system yet. It's an information gap you can exploit.
Okay, so give us the logistics. What kind of offers would work best here?
High payout affiliate offers. Definitely. The source mentions an associate who was buying clicks for literally 5 cents and flipping those same clicks for $25 payouts.
And that was through debt relief or financial services affiliate platforms.
Yeah. You have to focus on high lifetime value services, not small e-commerce sales. Use these new bespoke ChatGPT ad interfaces before Google fully integrates its own targeting.
All right. Opportunity B is where that psychological data becomes actionable. Intent jacking on steroids. Traditional search is linear, it's surface level, like mortgage calculator. But AI uses those confessional keywords to reveal this deep, rich intent.
Let's break down the example they use. A user says to the AI, "I just lost my job and I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage. I don't know what to do. My wife doesn't know yet." That single statement is a goldmine.
It's not just a keyword. The AI is extracting financial distress, immediate job loss, a 3-month urgency, and this acute emotional stress, that fear of telling his wife.
Correct. That intent is infinitely clearer and richer than just bidding on the keyword mortgage relief. This information lets affiliate marketers in specific niches like financial planning or job retraining create offers that speak directly to the user's exact moment of pain. That's intent jacking.
So the action here for you, the learner, is to start compiling categories of these confessional queries: financial triggers, relationship triggers, health triggers, and matching those phrases to high payout offers.
Absolutely. You build the intent database now while the data streams are still uncrowded. And finally, that brings us to Opportunity C, micro-niche AI tools.
Right. People don't always want a generalist like ChatGPT for specialized problems. They want a specific solution that's tailored to their immediate niche.
So you could build a free AI tool that analyzes mortgage scenarios and recommends refinance options, or a chatbot that helps people script difficult conversations with their boss or partner. Then you monetize that script writing tool with an immediate link to, say, therapy or negotiation coaching offers. If you own the hyper-specific niche, you own the lead.
And crucially, the source really emphasizes that these can be built fast.
Yeah. Use no-code platforms. You don't need a massive engineering team for this. Focus on a single, high-intent action like analyze my debt or script my layoff speech, and just launch it quickly to capture those direct leads during this 18-month window.
Okay, so of those 3 opportunities, which one do you think most respects that 18-month time constraint?
The penny click arbitrage for sure, because it relies so heavily on that temporary window of low competition before the big corporate advertisers saturate the bidding system.
Before anyone leaps into this, we absolutely need to address the practical dangers, the dark side. First, and this is a big one, privacy is dead. You have to adjust your behavior now. If you're using AI like a personal therapist, you are just handing a corporation a map to your deepest fears and your financial struggles.
You have to treat AI like a high-powered business tool, not a confidant. That data is persistent, and it is being used to build your psychological reflection.
Second, AI unemployment is real. Content writers, data entry specialists, some coding roles, they're seeing a rapid job disappearance. If you're building a business now, the ethical long-term play is to focus on services that help people navigate that transition. Education, retraining, automated business setup.
And third, monopoly. This power consolidation is accelerating. As everything funnels through a few of these algorithm overlords, the opportunity is to be the agile bridge for people who get squeezed out. So let's summarize the action plan for seizing the next 18 months. Focus on the first 3 critical steps. 1. Test behavior. Experiment with queries across different AIs. See exactly what kind of language triggers a product suggestion or a specific style of ad response. This is your free market research.
2. Build that intent database. Create a spreadsheet of specific high-intent trigger words, things like foreclosure, can't sleep, hate my job, spouse is moving out, and map those rich confessional phrases to existing high-payout affiliate offers. This becomes your targeting blueprint.
And 3, build those micro-niche AI tools fast. Launch using no-code platforms. Capture direct leads and that high-intent data immediately instead of just competing on cheap clicks.
Ultimately, this brings us to what the source calls the Ethical Marketer's Manifesto. The technology itself is morally neutral. It's just code. But how you use it isn't. Use this incredible power to genuinely solve the problems that people are confessing to the machine. Ethical businesses built on real solutions just last longer and scale bigger. So to synthesize the major findings of this deep dive, we've fundamentally moved from tracking where you went, cookies and digital exhaust, to tracking who you are via these detailed psychological conversations.
And the urgency really cannot be overstated. The algorithm is literally a mathematical reflection of you. And the window for arbitrage, the cheap clicks, the low competition, it will absolutely be closed by 2026.
Yeah.
This isn't some future trend we're debating. It is already here. It's happening right now.
So if the algorithm is literally a mathematical reflection of your psychology, the question you have to consider is, are you the data point being sold, the victim of surveillance pricing, or are you the strategic marketer exploiting the information asymmetry to build a winner?
And just remember, the power you give away when you use AI as a personal therapist for your deepest problems. Be deeply mindful of the data you willingly surrender to these algorithm overlords. The cost of convenience is your vulnerability.